Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Neeta Tatke, Head, Department of Psychology and Vice Principal of DG Ruparel College, Mahim, Mumbai. I will be speaking on motivation, its concept, meaning, functions and the types of motivation. Wakes up early at 5 am, goes for his exercises regularly. He wants to run full marathon this year. Rakesh is studying hard and is with his books most of his waking time. He wants to clear his CA examination this year. Ramesh is restless. He is not able to concentrate on anything. He is very hungry and can think of nothing else but food. Rohit is a devoted worker. He wants to rise in his career and aspires to become the youngest CEO of his company. From basic needs and wants such as hunger to success and achievements, motives play a large role in human behavior. What satisfies hunger does not satisfy thirst, and what satisfies thirst does not satisfy the need to achieve. Each motive is satisfied by different behaviors and objects. Motivation is defined as to an internal state that activates and gives direction to our behavior. It energizes behavior. Thus, our behavior is driven and is pulled towards goals due to motivation. Motivation also helps in sustaining the behavior. Motivation thus has the following stages: a need such as hunger, desire for social approval, which gives rise to motive. Certain behavior is aroused, directed to satisfy this motive. The motive is then achieved, the need is satisfied. After some time, this entire cycle will start again. Motives are at the center of our lives. They arouse us. They also direct what we think, we feel, and what we do. Some motives such as hunger, thirst are based to a very great extent on internal physiological states. Motivation to belong to others, to achieve, are psychological motives. For all motives, external cues play a major role in activating them. An advertisement of food will tempt a person to eat even if not hungry. See a teammate on the winner's platform will motivate a sportsman to practice harder. It is important to know some characteristics of motivation. Motives are internal states. They cannot be observed directly like behavior. They have to be inferred from behavior. When motivated, the person will run fast, work for long hours without getting tired. Motives help in predictions about behavior. An individual who is hungry will seek food. A person who is high in need for affiliation will seek relationships. When we know what the level of motivation is, we can also predict the behavior of the person. Strength of the motivation can be measured. There are various tools such as projective techniques which can help in the measurement of the strength of motivation. Motivation and emotions are interconnected. Motivation and emotion, which is the feeling state, are linked closely because motives are often accompanied by emotion. Fear is an emotion, but it is also a motive that pushes behavior towards a goal. Motive account for individual differences in behavior. The strength of the motivation differ from individual to individual. A person with high level of achievement motivation will strive to achieve the goal, compromising relationships. A person with high need for affiliation will make efforts to develop and strengthen relationships. For an individual the strength of the motivation may change. A student not much serious about the studies may become much focused if he is giving an important examination. Motivated behavior is selective and satiable. The motivated organism's behavior gets directed towards the satisfaction of the need that dominates at that moment. A thirsty person will ignore or refuse food he likes but seek water. Once the goal is reached, the restlessness ceases, at least for some time. Types of motives. Primary motives, they are unlearned motives. They are subdivided into biological and general motives. The biological motives are rooted in physiological state of the body to a large extent. There are many such motives including hunger, thirst, sex, temperature regulation, sleep and pain avoidance. Hunger. Hunger is satisfied by food. Earlier it was believed that hunger is felt when the stomach contracts. When the stomach is empty, contraction occurs, they are sensed and they were thought to be giving signal of hunger. But research later showed that the person feels hungry even when for medical reasons his stomach is removed. Glucose or blood sugar is also believed to be an important substance in the initiation of hunger motivation. Low rates of glucose are correlated with reports of hunger, and high utilization of glucose such as just after the meals is related to satiety, the absence of hunger. Feelings of hunger are also controlled by the hypothalamus in the brain. Although in animals, hunger is controlled by biological factors to a great extent. In human beings with biological factors, several other external conditions control eating behavior. The taste, the aroma, the presentation of food, the company of others influences us to a very large extent. The type of food which satisfies hunger also varies from culture to culture. Thirst. It typically drives us to drink water. It was believed that dryness of mouth arouses thirst, but thirst is quenched even when water is poured directly into the stomach. Thus, dryness of mouth is merely an indicator of thirst. Thirst motivation and drinking is triggered by two conditions in the body. Loss of water from the cells dehydrates the cells, thereby signaling the person to drink water. Loss of water from the body also results in reduction in blood volume, which in turn lowers the blood pressure. This stimulates the kidneys, and through the secretion of certain enzymes, thirst is triggered. Sex. It is a unique motive because it is very powerful in directing the behavior of the individual. But it is not essential for the survival of the individual, although it is necessary for the survival of the species. The physiological basis of sex is the secretion of sex hormones. The testes of the males and ovaries of the females produce hormones which are responsible for the sex desire. In human beings, sex hormones have a partial role to play. Learned habits, likes and dislikes, cultural practices play an important role. The sex motive is not aroused in the presence of just any member of opposite sex, even though sex hormone is present. Many sexual disorders have a root in psychological factors rather than the physiological ones. Sleep. All other motives push the person to do something. They make the organism active. Sleep is a physiological motive which involves passive resting of the body rather than active striving. It is a necessary state for the body as the process of body repair and building up of the body takes place when the person is sleeping. Earlier, it was believed that accumulation of waste products in the body makes the person sleepy. But research has indicated that sleep is regulated by certain centers in the brain. Pain avoidance. This is a powerful motive as it stimulates the person to look for the ways to relieve or escape pain. If a rat is given shock for entering a wrong path in a maze, the rat will learn to avoid that wrong path. Free nerve endings widely distributed throughout the skin, blood vessels and internal organs are receptors for the pain. General or psychological motives. Biological motives play important role in the survival of the individual as well as survival of the species. They are easily satisfied in the society. Human behavior goes much beyond satisfying the biological needs. We interact with people, move around and play, all which has no connection with the biological motives. These are also not totally learned behaviors. These are called the psychological motives. Some of the important psychological motives are activity. Activity motive is the movement for the sake of movement. Human beings by nature are active. They move around for work, meeting people, and also in the absence of other motives. Confinement to a small place which does not allow movement is not desired and gets seen as punishment. Our participation in games and sports also satisfies this motive. Curiosity. Interest in novel situations is called curiosity motive. It is common in both animals and human beings. Rats explore surroundings. We like to peep through the keyholes, listen to the conversations of others, all indicating curiosity. In one experiment, a monkey worked for a long time to open a box of nuts even though heaps of nuts were lying around him. All species show marked curiosity towards environmental stimuli. Interest in novel situation decreases after some time spent on it, so we constantly look for situations to satisfy this motive. Like other physiological motives, this motive increases in intensity with deprivation and decreases with satisfaction. Affection or contact comfort. This is an important motive, the satisfaction of which has long-term consequences. In one experiment, newborn monkeys were separated from their mothers and were given two artificial mothers, one made of wood and foam rubber covered with soft cloth and other made of wire mesh, hard. Feeding bottles were attached to the center of the breasts of these artificial mothers. Half of the baby monkeys were fed by cloth mother and other half by the wire mesh mother. Both the group of monkeys preferred to cling to the cloth mother who was soft and so resembled the natural mother more. Contact comfort is found to reduce fear in strange situations and provides a feeling of security. Secondary motives, they are also known as learned or social motives, as they are learned in social groups. They help to determine much of what a person does. They tend to persist, are not fully satisfied, and no sooner one goal is reached, the motive gets directed towards another one. For example, the need for affiliation, the need to make friends is not limited to few friends, but results in making several friendships in variety of situations. An effort is made to sustain these relationships. Many of them turn into lifelong relations. Some of the important secondary motives are the need for achievement, NH. It is the need to succeed, to achieve, and to avoid failure. This motive determines the goals selected by a person. People in whom this need of achievement is strong seek to become accomplished and to improve their task performance. They are also task oriented and prefer to work on tasks that are challenging and on which their performance can be evaluated in some way, either by comparing it with performance of others or in terms of some other standard. Achievement motivation can be seen in many areas, in the school, in the workplace, in an athletic competition, and so on. Why some people are high in this need for achievement? Since this is a learned motive, differences in early life experiences lead to variations in the amount of achievement motivation. Children learn by copying the behavior of their parents and other people who serve as role models. If the model possesses this achievement motivation to a marked degree, the child will adopt it through observational learning. People with high need for achievement motivation will show the following behaviors. They select tasks which are moderately difficult, but the possibilities of success are very high. They will not select tasks that are very easy, not challenging, the tasks which do not give satisfaction for the achievement. And they will also not select very difficult tasks where the possibility of failure is high. They are likely to be realistic in the task. Jobs and vocations they select. That is, they are likely to make a good match between their abilities and what will be demanded from them. They prefer tasks in which their performance will be compared with that of others. They like to get feedback on how they are performing. They tend to be persistent in working on the tasks they perceive as career related or the ones which reflect personal characteristics that are involved in getting ahead. If they are successful, they tend to raise their levels of aspiration in a realistic way so that they will move on to little more challenging and difficult tasks. They like to work in the situations in which they have some control over the outcome. This motive plays a very important role in our competitive culture with high approval from parents and teachers and the society. Need for affiliation. It is need to be a part of the social group, need to belong, experience attachment through friendship and group membership. We seek company of others even when there is no particular need to do so. We spend great deal of time thinking about actual and hoped for relationships. When relationships are formed, we experience joy. For the question, what makes your life meaningful? most people mention before anything else close, satisfying relationships with family, friends, romantic partner, and so on. The self-esteem increases when we feel included, accepted, and loved. The motive of dependency is related to this motive of affiliation. We all want someone to look upon or to turn for help. Satisfaction gives us this need a sense of security. It is psychologically painful when we feel excluded, ignored, or shunned. Need for power and power. It is the need to influence the behavior of others. The goal here is to influence, control, persuade, lead, and charm others. They engage in those activities which will create an impact on others. Socioeconomic status, gender, and level of maturity are many factors which influence this need. The behavioral expression of this motive may take various forms. Following are some of the ways in which people with high power motivation express themselves. By impulsive and aggressive actions shown by males, especially from low socioeconomic group. By participation in competitive sports such as hockey, football, or by joining organizations and holding office in these organizations. By obtaining and collecting possessions such as fancy cars, paintings. By choosing occupations such as teaching, diplomacy, business, occupations in which high-end power people believe that they have an opportunity to have an impact over others. By drinking and sexually dominating women, especially seen in males. Hierarchy of motives. Think of a situation. You get caught in an unexpected traffic jam and reach home late, are desperately hungry, thirsty, and also have to study for an important upcoming examination scheduled the very next day. What will you do first? Study? No, of course not. You will attempt to satisfy the most basic needs first. Drink water and eat. Once these needs are satisfied, you may think of studying. But now, if you are also very tired, you will first rest for some time and then open the book to study. Abraham Maslow has given an arrangement of motives in a hierarchy in the order in which they are likely to be satisfied. According to Maslow, the needs in the hierarchy are as follows. First, the physiological needs, hunger, thirst, and sex. Study shows need for security, stability, and order is the second. Then social needs, need for love and belongingness. Esteem needs, need for prestige, success, and self-respect. And last, self-actualization, need to live up to one's fullest and unique potential. As can be seen, this hierarchy of need is arranged in a pyramid. At the base of the pyramid are our physiological needs, such as those for food and water. Only if these needs are met, we move on to meet our need for safety and security. A starving man will be preoccupied with obtaining food. Once the person is assured of satisfying the basic needs, then he will think of a roof over his head. The same system of priorities operate at each level up in this hierarchy. A person will find love and belongingness when first two needs are met. Then a person will move to earn success, prestige, and satisfy his esteem needs. Only when the person has all the needs met, then the person will make an attempt to do the things he likes and enjoys, and move on to the last need, self-actualization. Most of us do not make it to the top of the pyramid. In most societies, most of the time, physiological needs are met, so people move on to satisfy safety and security. They will try to have a house, develop steady relations, and look for stable job. When safety needs are satisfied, the person attempts to meet the need of affection, affiliation, and identification. He will widen his friend circle, participate in group activities, and become member of social organizations. If these needs are met, then the person moves on to esteem and lastly actualization needs. Maslow hierarchy is somewhat arbitrary. The order of needs is not universally fixed. People may go hungry but fulfill their work responsibilities. People may try to satisfy several needs at the same time. Person may struggle to have a steady job and at the same time strive towards maintaining relationships. Yet, some motives are more compelling than others, and it provides a framework for thinking about motivation. Worldwide, life satisfaction surveys support this basic idea. In poorer nations, lack of easy access to money and food and shelter it buys, financial satisfaction more strongly predicts feelings of well-being. In wealthy nations, basic needs are mostly satisfied. Home life satisfaction is considered important. Self-esteem matters in most individualistic nations. Citizens tend to focus more on personal achievements here. Rarely people are able to reach their full potential, meeting the need to self-actualize. An important characteristics of motives is that they are not observed directly. They are inferred from what people say and what people do. They are very powerful tool for explaining behavior. They also help in predicting behavior. Understanding motives is an important area in the study of psychology. Thank you.